So it's kind of interesting that I'm putting on the headset and talking about this now, even though this is something that happened a week ago. I feel like instead of doing that video right then and there, I was just going through so much of the emotions in regards to the thing that I was able to accomplish that I kind of just forgot in regards to kind of talking about it, my perspective, my experience, and so on and so forth. Because within my field, I was looking at videos to kind of see any tips that people had in regards to what I was working towards, and there wasn't really that many, I guess you could say, like current videos. I know there was one content creator who did like two separate videos, but this was like back 3 years ago. So I was just kind of, basing it off of that, even though things have changed. And for a lot of you guys who are wondering, what am I talking about? Well, I'm kind of iffy in regards to talking about it because I don't know if it's going to impact my field in regards to me talking about this, but I wanted to be a bit more, I guess, transparent with everybody. So the thing that I wanted to bring up was the fact that yes, as of June 27th, 2026, I was able to pass my clinical exam to be a licensed marriage and family therapist, or short term LMFT. It's even crazy to say those words out loud, y'all, because this has been a like 3 year journey of me kind of getting my hours, getting my experience, paying for my associate's number, paying for the application, having to study, having to wait for my hours to be approved. Like this was such a long journey to get to this endpoint, and it was insane. I remember I made a kind of like a short back in like January that I deleted because I was pretty bummed about it. Because I did attempt the test the first time back in January of this year, and I failed. I think I got like an 83. Yeah, 83 was my score, and that was a fail. It sucks because when you pass, it doesn't tell you like what your score was. I wish it did, but I kind of realized that they don't do that just in case, so that way people aren't kind of scraping by to know what number they have to hit. But by doing research, I think people were mentioning that you have to hit, and don't quote me on this, because for me, I was kind of aiming to get like the 88 to 91, which people were saying, but then they changed the number to saying that if you get 91, either 91 to 95 questions correct, that would be quote unquote passing as well. So for a lot of you guys, when I'm mentioning these numbers, if you don't know what the clinical exam is to become a licensed marriage and family therapist, you basically have to take a 150 multiple choice question, which I believe 125 of them are graded. 25 are kind of just like bulk random questions that they kind of take off. So whether you get them right or wrong, it doesn't really count towards your total score. So yeah, so basically 150, 125 are graded, and you have 4 hours to actually complete the exam. And that's the scary thing too, because within the 4 hours, if you stop to take a break, the clock does not stop for you. So you really have to kind of time things, everything perfectly to a T to be able to complete that behemoth of a test. And I wanted to pass it because I heard that next year in 2027, they were going to be including the national exam as the actual LMFT exam. And that one is 180 questions in 4 hours. And I did not want to have to sit down for a longer exam question wise and get even more anxious because I'm not the best test taker. So it was just really difficult for me to even get myself motivated to reattempt that test. And I did give myself a lot of time in preparation to be able to actually pass it this time around. So I kind of want to give you guys my experience in regards to what I utilized in regards to actually practicing for this exam and even like the day of. So I do want to talk about, the studying stuff first. So the study material that I used, so the study material that I actually used for this exam, the first time when I took it in January, the only thing I was using was Ben Caldwell, which is High Pass Education. I really like Ben Caldwell because of the lectures, because when it comes to his lectures, I think it's him and his wife who are doing like separate lectures. She tends to come on when it comes to theories, but I like it because you have a visual. And for me, I'm a much better visual learner in regards to kind of looking at my screen, seeing the people talking, seeing I think they have like slides with information if you want to pause and take notes and so on and so forth. So for me, I really like that. They did have quizzes after certain aspects, but for me, the quizzes didn't really feel as meaningful just because they were really short. Like they were like 4 to 5 question quizzes, and then the main bulk of it was like at the end because I believe they give you two mock exams that you could take. But the thing that sucks is that those two mock exams, if you take it once, you kind of know what the questions are. So when you take it again, it's much more like recency bias and you're able to kind of perform better, not because you're learning the material better, but maybe because you learned the question and what the right answer is. So I feel like that was kind of like a small drawback in regards to Ben Caldwell. But like I mentioned, for me, I really enjoyed looking and seeing what I was studying as opposed to just listening to audio recordings, which brings me to the second time around when I took the exam. I was doing Ben Caldwell's like lectures while I was doing mock exams with Jerry Grossman. Now, I paid for the entirety of Jerry Grossman's I guess like study material. So I paid for like the DSM stuff. I paid for their charts. I paid for their flashcards, note cards. They also had audio, but the thing about their audio is that their audio was good, but it was just really short. Like each audio was only like 3 minutes long compared to Ben Caldwell that they kind of compile information into like longer videos. So like let's say for Ben Caldwell, if they're talking about theories, right? If they're talking about structural is one like video in and of itself. Whereas Jerry Grossman, if you look at structural, they have like history, treatment, interventions, and so theirs is like a lot, I guess you could say, more spread out to kind of give you a bit more of an understanding as to which sections you could be reviewing more. But for me, I didn't really like Jerry Grossman in that aspect because it was so broken up. And for them, it's strictly audio. So I was kind of just putting on my headset and just kind of staring at my ceiling while I was listening to the videos. And I didn't really find that as useful because, like I mentioned, for me, I'm much more of a visual learner. So I like seeing people, I like seeing slides, information, and so on and so forth. So for Jerry Grossman, it definitely was a lot more just like listening and trying my hardest to memorize or even jotting notes, which is something I didn't do, which I feel like if a lot of you guys are note takers, maybe you'll want to take notes in regards to actually preparing for the exam. But the thing that I used a lot when it came to Jerry Grossman was the mock exams. They have, I swear, so many mock exams. Yes, unfortunately, if you take the mock exams a lot, chances are you might remember the questions because they kind of reuse questions in between all of them. But man, they bulked their actual like exam prep. And I feel like I should have done things differently now knowing hindsight. I should have probably only paid because I know they give you the option for the full study material or they give you an option just to pay for the test banks. I should have just paid for the test banks and saved myself money because I feel like for Jerry Grossman, I used the test banks way more than I did the actual study material. So I believe in their test banks, they have 9 test banks, like 9 exam, I guess you could say, preps, and then they have like 9 study preps, which the only difference is that the exam one makes you go through the entire exam without knowing what you got, and then the study side of the exam is like if you click on an answer, you can actually check to see if you got it right or wrong and see the rationale then and there, as opposed to like the exam ones where you have to kind of wait until the very end. So for me, the way that I studied this time around was I was listening to Ben Caldwell and I was doing the mock exams, which I give a huge shout out to like the content creator I was talking about. His name is Kevin Yu. I was kind of following his example in regards to what I was doing because I didn't really want to listen to audio recordings anymore because I felt like I kind of knew the material to a basic degree. But the thing that I wanted to do was kind of just bulk up a lot of different like practice exams to get me into the mentality of like, okay, this is me sitting down for the exam. I need to bulk up 4 hours of my time. Let me sit down and actually do this. So I was literally doing a mock exam, like a 4 hour mock exam, like 2 to 3 times a week, y'all. So like every other day after work, I would eat dinner and I would sit myself down and I would do an actual mock exam. And that's something that I feel like definitely helped me out a little bit more because within my first attempt, I think I only did 1 or 2 mock exams and I felt like I was ready. But using Jerry Grossman's test banks, y'all, I don't know what it is. You guys, I don't know if you guys want to quote me or not, but I definitely felt like Jerry Grossman's actual practice exams were much more closer related to the actual clinical exam as opposed to Ben Caldwell. Ben Caldwell, I was getting such high marks in regards to like answering them correctly and so on and so forth. But when I sat down and I took the actual exam, I felt like they didn't really align, 1 to 1, which obviously, no test bank is going to be 1 to 1, right? But Jerry Grossman, I believe, was extremely helpful in regards to knowing how the actual exam is going to be structured through the actual practice questions they had. So for me, that was really helpful to get as much experience as I did. Obviously, I was getting super burnt out just because, like I mentioned, taking a 4 hour exam 2 to 3 times a week was devastating. Like I literally couldn't text my friends. I couldn't really get on to play. Like I really had to make my entire life just like sitting down and trying my hardest to pass this exam, which that's why I was hoping that when I took my test at the end of June that I was going to pass, because I was like, dude, I've never put so much time and effort into one thing. Like this was like 2 months of me just listening to recordings, watching videos, doing practice exams. So in my mind, I'm like, if I don't pass this time, I'm gonna be so disappointed because I do not want to do this all over again. So like I mentioned, just as a small debrief, my study material, Ben Caldwell for the actual lectures, Jerry Grossman test bank. That was kind of the way that I did it, where I was listening to videos, and then on the days I wasn't listening to videos, I was doing test banks, mock exams, looking at rationales, and so on and so forth. And I feel like for me personally, that's what helped me the best. I know there's like another like test center that a lot of people like to use. I didn't use that one, and I don't have experience with it, so I can't really say if that in and of itself is good. These were just the two that I kind of paid for in regards to passing this time around. And yeah, when it came to the actual exam, like I mentioned, I think I took it, I think June 27th, I think I had mentioned I took it. It was a Saturday at 11 in the morning. I got there like around 10:30 and they're like, "Do you want to start?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm already here. If I could start, I'm gonna just start as early as I can because I kind of just wanted to get it out the way." So yeah, in regards to the exam itself, shouting out again, Kevin Yu, I followed his tip in regards to when it came to the exam. And because I know the first time I took the exam, I just kind of plowed through it without really giving myself some rationale as to what I was doing. This time around, I follow Kevin Yu's example in regards to flagging a lot of the longer questions. So the questions that kind of gave you multiple choice answers that had like 3 to 4 different categories in each answer set, I kind of just skipped that to the end because I wanted to save like my reading comprehension for those questions as opposed to having to read that thing right there and then kind of get burnt out for later questions. And then I know the other thing that I was practicing a lot was theories isn't my strong suit. I really can't differentiate, early, middle, or end intervention. I can't really understand the goals or treatment plans. So the other ones I was flagging was actually theory questions. So if I was asking me, what would a structural therapist do? What would a Bowenian therapist do? What would a existentialism, like those type of questions, I would kind of flag because those I knew were going to give me a bit more of a tough time. And I didn't want to use all of my brain power on those set questions throughout the exam. So like I mentioned, I flagged long multiple choice questions and I flagged the theories till the very end. And I was kind of keeping pace in regards to just finishing the exam on the actual set time of the 4 hours. And I know for me specifically, I know a lot of people like to plow through the test, but I knew I was going to need to give myself a break just because when I was taking my mock exams, I knew I was feeling burnt out after a certain amount of questions. So for the actual exam itself, I was keeping an eye on the clock that it gives you on the actual computer itself to know like how much time you have. And for me, when it hit, I believe like an hour and 40 minutes, which how much is that? I think that's like 100 minutes on the actual test. I kind of raised my hand and I went outside for a 10-minute break because I did want to kind of capsulate like, okay, I have 90 minutes or an hour and a half to finish the rest of my test. So I took a break at an hour 40 minutes and I gave myself a 10-minute break. I think I brought like some, sugary cookies as well as some Sprite because Sprite helps calm my stomach down. I don't know if that's like a Mexican thing that you guys kind of grew up with within the Latin culture that, 7 Up or Sprite kind of helps the stomach feel a little bit better. But yeah, kind of drank my Sprite, ate my cookies to kind of give me that sugar boost that I needed in regards to passing or not passing, but having a bit more energy for the last hour and a half. I went back down, I sat down, and I finished that exam. And I think I was able to finish. This was like a really close call. So I'm glad I gave myself only 10 minutes as opposed to my thought of giving myself 5 minutes. Because at the end of the day, when I actually finished the exam, I think I finished with like 3 or 4 minutes remaining. So if I would have taken a 15-minute break, I would have not been able to really finish all of the questions. And I feel like I would have had a lot more anxiety about finishing the exam as opposed to giving myself like, that only like that short 10-minute break and then kind of going back and finishing it up. So yeah, like I mentioned, I was able to take that 10-minute break within the hour 40 and I was able to finish with 4 to 5 minutes to spare. So really cutting it close right there. And yeah, honestly, once I actually finished and I looked back at my exam and I saw that I didn't have any more flagged, I didn't have any more, incomplete questions, I just clicked submit. And honestly, I feel like a lot of, people who take this exam and make the same comment that in my mind, I'm like, I failed this test. Like I was just preparing myself to be like, I'm gonna give myself, a win week break, maybe a 1 month break, and I'll go back to studying and I'll take this again in 3 months. Because I know they changed it where back then they used to be 4 months, 120 days, but now as of these last couple of years, me recording this in 2026, they actually changed it to 90 days, so 1 month shorter. So in my mind, I'm like, I failed this exam. I'll just come back in 3 months time and retake it before the holidays actually begin. So defeatedly, I hit submit. I raised my hand for the proctor to come get me, and I went outside. And when I went outside, they basically just told me, like, get your stuff out of your locker first, make sure that you get everything that you need, and all of your belongings, so that way you don't leave anything. And I'm like, okay, like this is standard protocol. So, and I felt really like defeated, and I was like jumbling the keys. I was dropping items. Like I was just super tired afterwards. And instead of giving me the paper with my results, the lady was literally just like, "Can you sign this sign out sheet first, please?" And I'm like, "God, this is taking so long. I just give me my paper so I could leave." But y'all, literally, when I was signing the sign out sheet, I looked to my left because she was holding my paper, and she had it angled in a way where it's like the light was bleeding through it, and I saw that there was less writing, because when you fail the exam, they actually give you like a chart breakdown as to like the categories you got, what your score was, which categories you did good and bad in, and so on and so forth. But when they don't have that chart, it means that you passed. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, is that really my paper? Like, it's not there. There's no chart on it, so that means I passed. But in my mind, I'm like, I could have sworn I failed this test. Like I was giving myself like that imposter syndrome. I'm like, I'm not that smart to have passed this test the second time around. But I was really anxious, yo. I think that's like the first time I ever really experienced like a panic attack, because like my vision was getting blurry, my heart was kind of pounding. I couldn't even do my signature on the sign out sheet. Like I just did chicken scratches, and I threw that paper at the lady. Not threw it, but I kind of just like pushed it towards her, and then she just told me like, "Oh, here's your results. You're free to leave." And she didn't even say congratulations or anything, which was I felt like I was kind of bummed, because I'm like, dude, this was like a 4 hour test. Like at least give me a smile or something. But yeah, like I mentioned, I flipped over the paper and the reality hit that it says congratulations and that I passed that exam. And y'all, I'm not even gonna lie, like I feel like that panic attack kind of went away, but that rush and that euphoria kind of hit me, because I was like weak on my legs. It was hard for me to, like, I was just stumbling my way out of the testing center when I went outside. I didn't yell, but I literally was like in tears for a solid like 5 to 10 minutes, because I'm just like, what even happened here? And it kind of sucked because I didn't really have an opportunity to kind of just sit in my feelings, because I had like an event to go like an hour or two after, so I kind of had to get in my car and drive away. But as I was driving, y'all, my head was pulsing, because I'm like, dude, I put so much brain power and I feel kind of brain dead right now. But I was just so relieved looking at that paper next to me, and it's saying congratulations on the entire sheet. And it's crazy because I had mentioned during like my birthday video that this was one of my primary goals, was to, well, a lot of my goals was to like get a car, pass this test, and so on and so forth. And obviously, I don't think I ever mentioned it, but I was able to get a car. I got a 2026 Toyota Camry XSE, the highest trim for no reason, apart from seat warmers, because a lot of people that I drive with like seat warmers. And then my other thing was to pass this test, which, as of the summer, June 27th, I did pass this exam. And it just feels so good, y'all, to finally be done with something like this. Like I mentioned, this was a pretty long journey. It took me like 3 years to get all of my hours situated. Obviously, I had to backtrack a little bit just because of some trainings I was doing and failing the exam. So technically, this journey took me 4 years. So 4 years of grinding just to get this license is insane. And whether I want to open up my own private practice or become a supervisor, that is still like a goal in the future, just because I want to build up more competence to be able to do so. But, just being where I'm at, being able to say that I'm finally licensed after so long. Y'all, this was a long journey. I think I even have videos up on this channel when I was an undergrad doing psychology, or even some videos when I was a master's student training to be an associate, and now I can finally say throughout this journey that I'm licensed. It's just like a rush, like it's really insane to be at that point where I could say that I'm licensed and to kind of set new goals for myself. I really don't know what I want to do. I know the thing that I'm doing right now is getting dental work done. Right now, I was able to get 2 fillings done. I have 2 more to do, as well as getting my wisdom teeth removed in August. So I kind of have a lot of things to kind of keep my health in check that I want to look forward to. But yeah, I don't know what else I want to say. I just want to give you guys my experience in regards to my journey, my test materials, and how it felt for me on that day, for anyone who is interested or curious. Or even if there's, associates out there who are preparing for this test, who have failed the test, don't give up. I know for me, I definitely felt very, very defeated in regards to taking that exam, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now that euphoria you get when you actually pass the exam and seeing how all of your hard work actually put into practice and you're able to get that license feels so, so good. So for a lot of you guys who got to this point, don't give up. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to feel motivated after failing, but remember, you guys have been doing this for 3 to 4 years, maybe even more. So you guys know how to get the work done. It's just putting that application onto a dumb 4 hour exam. But don't let this test make you feel like you're not worth it within the field. Don't make it seem like you shouldn't belong in this field. Use this as a learning lesson just to give you guys some patience to be able to pass this exam, because that's what I had to do for me. I had to give myself that patience to be like, I failed this exam, but in 3 months, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna come back stronger and I'm gonna actually pass this time. And that's what I did. So for all of you guys, if you guys some motivational words for me, keep on going. It's really worth it. And I know for a lot of you guys who are struggling out there, you will get this done one way or another. If it takes you 1 attempt, 2 attempts, 5 attempts, you will get this done, and just keep on going. But if you guys have any questions for any associates out there in regards to just like test prep, tips and stuff like that, let me know and I could try my hardest to answer them. I'm a big noob when it comes to kind of explaining things. So if I can't explain it properly, hopefully I could guide you guys to the right direction. But yeah, like I mentioned, I'm finally happy. It's been 1 week. I took this 1 week off. I went to Disneyland the other day, and like I mentioned, I'm getting some dental work done. So I've just been relaxing since I've been licensed, and I'm gonna be going back to work next week. So it's gonna be a new environment, but I'm really happy to see how things go. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys my perspective. I know this went a lot longer than I was anticipating, but I felt like I had some information or at least experiences to showcase to all of you. So, like I mentioned, hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. New time for me to set goals. We'll see what those goals are. But until then, I'll hope to catch you guys in the next one. It's double XP right now, actually, that I'm recording this video. So hopefully I'm able to get a video of me hitting Prestige Master in Black Ops 7 soon. Because I think I have that as like the background gameplay for you guys to watch while I'm talking about this thing. So hopefully I have something soon for you guys. And let's see what the future has in store for this licensed therapist. Peace out, y'all.